guys! So I debated back and forth a little bit about whether or not to do this review in 3 parts or to just do it in 1, and for the sake of time and not knowing when I'm going to be able to film again, I'm just going to talk about the 3 current Shades of London books in 1 video. So yeah, caution! Minor spoilers may be in this. Nothing too big, just talking about some events. I don't really think they're too spoilery, but you know, just in case. Okay, now to the review. The first one is The Name of the Star, which I mentioned back in September as one of the books that I was going to be reading. Like I said then, this one was a reread, and it was really good. Like, even the second time around, it was really good. So the synopsis for this one is: Louisiana teenager Rory DeVoe arrives in London to start a new life at boarding school just as a series of brutal murders mimicking the horrific Jack the Ripper killing spree of more than a century ago has broken out across the city. The police are left with few leads and no witnesses, except one. Rory spotted the man believed to be the prime suspect, but she's the only one who saw him, the only one who can see him. And now Rory has become his next target, unless she can tap her previously unknown abilities to turn the tables. First thing I really liked about this book was the setting, just because it's in London, and I've always wanted to see London, so that right there kind of had me hooked. Okay, onto the characters. I really like Rory. I don't generally like the protagonists of most novels. They're usually not in my list of favorite characters. I know I've said that a lot about a lot of books, but I really liked Rory. She's just really relatable, and she seems like a really honest character, in the sense that honest in you can trust her narration of things, and what she says is likely what actually happened in the story, because you know, sometimes you get like these dishonest narrators and you kind of have to be like, I don't really know. I feel like I'm going back to English class, but yeah, I just really liked her. The side characters in general, I also really liked. They managed to be really 3-dimensional, and I feel like that is just skill on Maureen Johnson's part, because this is all first-person narration, so the fact that these characters that weren't necessarily vital to the plot ended up being more than just plot devices. Even though you're just seeing them as Rory sees them, they're still 3-dimensional characters and not just, you know, there to be like, you know, there. The biggest thing that I liked about this novel, though, was how the plot just kept moving. It was very fluid. There were no spots really that were just, that kind of stalled and felt like they were just not going anywhere. It was a very gripping and intriguing story. And then the content itself, like the fact that it was built around something that actually did happen, you know, the Jack the Ripper cases, that made it all the more engaging. It kind of clung to the air of mystery and intrigue from the original real-life cases and then put them into this novel. And I think that is part of what kept me into it and wanting to keep reading, both times that I read it. And another thing is that there were ghosts. I like ghosts. I'm a sucker for a good ghost story, and this is a good ghost story. So yeah, that is book number 1. So book number 2 is The Madness Underneath. And I'm just going to start by saying this was very aptly titled. So this story picks up with Rory dealing with the aftermath of the events in the first one. So I'll just read this to you too. Rory DeVoe has changed in ways she could never have imagined since moving to London and beginning a new life at boarding school. As if her newfound ability to see ghosts hadn't complicated her life enough, Rory's recent brush with the Jack the Ripper copycat has left her with an even more unusual and intense power. Now a new string of inexplicable deaths is threatening London, and Rory has evidence that they are no coincidence. Something sinister is going on, and it is up to her to convince the city's secret ghost policing squad to listen before it's too late. Okay, that was really hard to read for some reason, but that's the synopsis. So I'm not gonna lie, at first this one was really slow. Honestly, for like the first 90 pages, it was just kind of dragging on, and then it just got really good really quick. So I was particularly intrigued at this point in the novel, the 90-page mark, because it was dealing with ghosts that had been mentally ill when they were alive. And I feel like this might just be because of the fact that, you know, I am a psych major. I'm taking an abnormal psychology class right now, and that whole mental illness and mental health is just very intriguing and fascinating to me personally. So the fact that it dealt with ghosts that had once had mental illnesses was just really cool. However, the plot point that this brings up, which is a potential consequence of something that happened at the end of the first novel, is just kind of left off, and it isn't really as developed as I would like it to be. But after that little bit where it first started to pick up, it just got really, really interesting. The foreshadowing of this part was also really well done. It was a little obvious at points, but I really liked it anyway. I don't want to spoil anything, but the people that Rory ends up falling in with, or just people that she meets in general, they're a bunch of wackadoos. They're weird, they're crazy people, and it just gets really, really intense. And then the end, it was a boom. But it was kind of subtle, so it was a lowercase boom, not a capital boom. Without saying who, it was a death, but it was a very subtle, almost anticlimactic death of a very important character. And I just really like that it was done that way, honestly. Anything else I feel like would have been way too over the top and would have... Oh my gosh. Now I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh, okay, yeah, the death. It was really subtle, and I like that it was that way, because anything else I feel would have been way too over the top and would have completely conflicted with all of the other craziness that had been built up earlier in the novel. But yeah, I really liked it. When I first picked up the novel, I thought it was going to be a flop, and it was a very, very pleasant, crazy surprise. So this one is also really good, and it's worth the time it takes to get into. And that brings us to number 3, The Shadow Cabinet. So this one is the current ending of the Shades of London series. There is going to be a 4th book, as far as I know, and based on the way this one ends, there had better be a 4th book. Here is the synopsis for this one. Rory and her friends are reeling from a series of sudden and tragic events. While racked with grief, Rory tries to determine if she acted in time to save a member of the squad. If she did, how do you find a ghost? Also, Rory's classmate Charlotte has been kidnapped by Jane and her nefarious organization. Evidence is uncovered of a 40-year-old cult, 10 missing teenagers, and a likely mass murder. Everything indicates that Charlotte's in danger, and it all seems that something much bigger and much more terrible is coming. Time is running out as Rory fights to find her friends, and the Ghost Squad struggles to stop Jane from unleashing her spectral nightmare on the entire city. In the process, they'll discover the existence of an organization that underpins London itself, and Rory will learn that someone she trusts has been keeping a tremendous secret. In this exhilarating 3rd installment to her New York Times best-selling series, Maureen Johnson brings the sinister streets of London to life with her signature wit and page-turning suspense. Yeah, I think actually the ending of that little blurb there, this one is really suspenseful. I was going to mention that a little bit later, but this one is a lot more suspenseful, and it's a lot more psychological, it felt to me anyway, because the entire time I wanted to get in the heads of the antagonists. Because, I mean, like I've mentioned before, I even tweeted about it if you follow me on Twitter, but Maureen Johnson writes some seriously intriguing wackadoos. These are the kind of antagonists that you want to hate, and you know you should, because they're not good people. They're crazy and just not good, but they're also so scarily charismatic, even in just the few pages that they're on, that you can't hate them. But they're crazy, and it's really cool, and I just want to get in their heads and know what they're thinking. So in this one, you find out more about Rory's powers and everything that they can do, which is cool because they're getting bigger, and they are a really, really important part of one of the side plots. You also get more backstory of Stephen, which I think is really cool because he's one of those characters that is a mystery to everyone. You find out more about who he is and what his life was like when he was a kid. I just like the character development in general in this. You get to learn more about the different members of the squad and then other characters that were just sort of in the background before. I'm thinking specifically of Thorpe because you find out so much more about him in this one. It's kind of like those moments, you know, when you have a teacher and you see them outside of school and you realize that they're actual people, they're not always in their classroom. That's kind of the same sort of feeling when you learn more about this character. You realize, you know, he's not just some weird government official, he's an actual person. So that was cool. I really liked it. I really like his character. Really the only criticism that I had, this didn't really pick up on that plot point from the second one as much as I wanted it to. I mean, it sort of did, and it was sort of like an implied thing, kind of a bleh kind of thing. I hope there would be more. Maybe there will be more about it in the fourth one, because it, I think, is going to tie in with one of the secret organizations that they discover in this one. This one is my favorite so far in the series. Usually I'll like the first one more than any of them, but so far this one's really good. There's lots of secrets in this one, lots and lots of secrets, and they're all going to be explained in the next one, I hope. I don't know, but that would be cool. Well, basically, that's all I got for you. These first 3 books are really, really good. I really, really like them, and I think they're worth the read. So I just realized that this is a ghost story, and this video is probably going to be up on Halloween. So I just want to say that I hope you have a spoopy and safe Halloween, and you have a fun, just one fun, no more than that. But no, have fun, be safe. As always, links to everything will be in the description, and I will see you guys next time. Okay,